Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Luna over here. I am a real estate agent here in Philadelphia. So in today's video, a lot of you guys have been asking me how do I do prospecting and how I was able to make 1,000 cold calls a day. So here I am going to share with you guys step by step how I do it. And first of all, let's get into what exactly do you need. The tools that you're going to need is, first you will need a headset. So the one I am currently using are those Beats headphones. I use them for the gym. I also use them for cold calling. Sometimes I have one in and then I'll just be listening to something else and then I'm gonna talk to people on the phone, and this is also connected with the mic. Just so you guys know, these headsets are only good for about 4 hours. So what I do after I need to charge those headsets, I will just use these iPhone headset. They work just fine. And the second tool you're going to need is a dual screen, because that will just make your life a lot easier. What I normally do is, if you can take a look at my background, I will use that big screen as a mojo dialer, and on my computer I will do like editing or admin work or emailing to client or look up properties on MLS. And the third tool you will need is a dialer. So I haven't experienced any other dialers besides Mojo, and Mojo dialer by far is the best I have seen, and upon all the research that I have done, the Mojo triple line dialing system is the best of all. So basically what that works is, there are 3 lines will dial different numbers at the same time. If one of the line picks it up, you get to talk to the prospect, and the other 2 lines stop dialing. And once you hang up the phone with the first prospect, and the other 2 kept dialing, and then there's the third one that comes back on. And then the next question I get asked the most is, what is the cost and expenses, what comes along with, you know, the dialer. And on top of that, I also purchase all my data through Mojo as well. So currently I have for sale by owner data, I purchased neighborhoods data, I also purchased the expires data. So with the neighborhood search data, you will get mostly like any area that you wanted to focus on. So in my database, I have over 100,000 numbers I can go through. The next question that I get a lot is, why do I do it? So in my opinion, I think being a great salesperson, you will need a lot of trainings. You will need to speak with a lot of prospects. And how do you do that? So practice makes it perfect. By cold calling 1,000 people, it teaches me how to be patient. It also teaches me what's the right way to talk to people and how to listen to them. So by doing a whole 1,000 calls, it's really rough sometimes because you're in the office pretty much 6 hours a day and non-stop calling. A lot of time people get emotional, they get upset you, they hung up, you know, all these are just very common. I'm kind of get used to it, but at the opposite side, you will get a few here and there, the people that are interested, there's maybes. So by far, after 1 year of consistently cold calling, I have created a database for the next 2 to 3 years. People are going to be ready to sell their property. I have 122 leads. Those are the sellers that will be ready next year in spring or 2 years from now. So this is my basically business pipeline, and I am going to create bigger and larger pool of sellers by doing 1,000 cold calls. So let's jump back to the background. So I first started cold calling, I would say it was 2018 around July, and at the beginning I was only like stick with 1 to 2 hours phone calls a day, because I just couldn't believe that I was able to do more than 2 hours. I think it's extremely painful. It was just awkward to be on the phone. But I learned through my friend Steve, which I will link a separate video on the side, he originally makes about 1,000 cold calls a day, and he's been doing it consistently. So Steve is way better, and he's been doing it longer than I am. I was in a prospecting group with him when I first met him. So he is very, you know, focused, and he's always on track of how many hours he's supposed to dial. So after seeing Steve, you know, has done it for quite a bit of time, I was like, why not try to dial 1,000 numbers a day? You know, if there are buyers here and there, I can just kind of stop working with non-qualified buyers and just focus more on producing leads. So that's what I did. And for the past 2 months, I have done nothing but cold calling. And I remember in one of the previous videos, I mentioned that I turned 3 sellers into a listing contract, and I've signed 3 listing contracts within 1 week. So, you know, the moral of that story is it's going to take a long time for you to see result by doing tons of cold calling, but at the meantime, it sharpens your sales skills and also your mindset. It's a very powerful thing for someone to do, because you really have to ease your mind. You have to sit down and just be quiet and settle your whole mind into doing one thing. And on a side note, with cold calling, now I'm only talking about just cold calling neighborhoods. When you're talking to people, there will be 3 questions and script that I say during the phone call. And the first is, are you thinking about selling your house? I do an introduction and I ask them, are you thinking about selling your house? And most likely they will hang up, or they say no, or they say a maybe. So once they say the maybe, I will go ahead and ask them, if you do end up selling your house, do you know where you're moving to? If they know where they're moving to, then I go ahead and ask them, when is the soonest you can see you and your stuff get out of the property? If they say, anytime, for the right amount of money, I can get out anytime. So that is a very qualified lead right there, and I most likely will go ahead and set up a listing appointment. If the person says that they're not interested, I don't just hang up the phone. I go ahead and ask them, have you thought about selling your house ever? Any plans on moving ever? If you don't ask that question, you will lose on a couple lead where people are not ready to sell their house just yet, but they will be ready in the future. So by doing cold calling, a lot of time is to, you know, help yourself getting more natural with your script and just qualify seller a lot better on the phone. So I can't really stress out enough about how important it is. The last thing in this video I do want to kind of talk to you guys about is my daily schedule. So how I was able to kind of incorporate doing 1,000 cold calls a day. Basically, I wake up around 6-7 o'clock in the morning. I'll get ready and I'll come to the office. I start dialing roughly between 9 o'clock, and from 9 to 12 I just consistently stay on the phone. I don't get off, and then I take about 30 to 45 minutes of lunch break, and from 1 to 5 o'clock I keep dialing. So typically in that amount of hours I will get averaging about 6 hours of cold calling, and that rounded up to about 1,000 cold calls a day. So that's pretty much how I do it. Let me see if I have missed any other questions on my note. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this type of video. I know it can be, you know, a lot of content to be covered in just one video, but if you have any more specific questions in regards to cold calling neighborhoods, you can leave a comment down below and I'll try my best to explain as much as possible. And I do apologize, I couldn't really get back to each single one of you guys of like specific question. So maybe what I'm going to do in the near future is to do like a Q&A section. So any question that you have, the best way to reach to me is by leaving a YouTube comment down below. I will heart it and I will pinpoint to, you know, set up a note next time when I do another video. Every Wednesday I will do a Q&A video to answer all the questions that you guys have. So here's Luna over here. I really appreciate you guys' love and support. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye!